Hello everybody. It's good to see you again. Goodness, it's Friday again. It happened so quick. We were doing these twice a week, now we're doing them once a week, but it still comes fast. So, I have some information for you. Good to see you. I hope you're ready. And yes, we do have a little buddy with us. Our little buddy. Here, you want to come in? People want to see you. So we have a little buddy here, and he's got something to say later, but let's first talk about what's going on. And again, I am asking you that if you have anything that obviously you want us to pray for you, with you about anything, please let us know. And I'm fixing to give you some updates. If you don't want any more updates as to what's going on, because I tell you, people get really bombarded by, how would you say, unpleasant news. I totally understand. And we could just go to another thing of health and TKM and everything else, and we can drop this. But unless I hear about that, I'm probably going to give you some updates. But let's give a little update here as far as in this country. Something that I was talking about early concerning the situation that everybody is sharing to one degree or another. There was recently a notice came out that a hospital in Northern California, this is one hospital, has dealt with more suicides in the past 30 days than in a normal entire year. So we're talking more than 12 times as much. So let me change from that. Now that has to do with it doesn't have to do with the virus. It has to do with the other things that are going on that shouldn't be going on. In the United States currently there are 38 million people out of work. Unemployment is the highest since the Great Depression. These and many other numbers are the real pandemic in this country and around the world. But understand, this is going to be short. One way or another, we are not going to walk back, run back. We're going to bounce back. And it's going to be stronger and better. And a lot of the wrong and evil things that are going on, that are going to be revealed, many of them are, they're going to be dealt with. Because it's not only the spirit of Americans, but it's also what is evil will not prevail. And God is in control, and He has the end of it in His hands. But a little more news for you. I got this off of a notice that was a clip from C-SPAN. A few statements recently by Senator Ted Cruz are concerning some of the reasons why of such is going on as he's saying. So he said, the coronavirus is proven to come from Wuhan, China. Plus, the Chinese government have done all possible to cover it up, including lying about how it started, how it's transmitted, destroying evidence related, as well as silencing the brave whistleblower doctors, scientists, journalists, activists, and others who tried to warn China and the world. It was recently discovered that between January 1st and April 4th, so early into this, the Chinese government charged over 484, this is the ones we know of these highly known people with crimes because of comments about the virus that has infected, the last count, over 5 million people. The comments were to warn people. In Wuhan, doctors trying to warn people in December, that's last year in 2019, were accused of spreading lies. So the Chinese Communist government arrested them and forced them to sign documents claiming they lied and disturbed the public order. They were simply and compassionately motivated to warn their own people and the world about the truth concerning the virus. One of the doctors, after signing the document, has been missing since then, since March. Another doctor, Dr. Lee, has since died from the virus, as reported. Not just doctors, but the journalists and others who courageously spoke out about the truth have suddenly disappeared. A law professor who spoke out, now understand this is going before the Congress by a senator. A law professor who spoke out has been missing since February. Another doctor, Jean Quinn, I'm not pronouncing that right, but a renowned Chinese doctor, has since died from the virus, as reported. Shin Shu Saw, a prominent lawyer and journalist, is missing since February after speaking about the virus. Fin Shin, a businessman who reported on the number of bodies piling up outside the Wuhan hospital, also has been missing since February 9th. I don't think it's a lot of coincidence. Li, a journalist, quit his job as a broadcaster to go to report the truth in Wuhan and has been missing for 28 days. But he resurfaced only after signing documents praising the government policies and no longer speaking anything against them. Ren, a real estate tycoon who was publicly critical of the Chinese president's handling of the virus information, has been missing since March 12th. Xu Jing, a lawyer who spoke out, has been on house arrest since February 14th. These brave men and women are just a few victims of the latest attacks by the Chinese government. That government has 1 million Uyghurs right now in concentration camps. There are news reports and videos of these Chinese government killing prisoners to sell their organs. The communist Chinese government is persecuting all people of any religious belief, Buddhist, Taoism, Muslim, Christians. It doesn't matter what the religion is, they're against them viciously and violently. Ted Cruz was concerned about China's censorship reaching into all areas of life. They severely edit the few movies they allow from the USA concerning what is said and what is shown and what is insinuated. So they're very, very particular. Others, among many things, the Chinese government owns 57% of Disney. Disney was one of what they called the top 8 that owns everything. Although they do not allow Disney movies to be shown in their country. The Chinese communist, most movies, the Chinese communist government is intensely invading the American education system, especially for young children. There has been a long-range plan that has been very effective so far. They are openly announced plans for dominating the U.S. and dominating the world, and it is publicly known for years in China. So let me tell you what they've done economically so far on some of the numbers. In the USA, China owns $959 billion in our households. That's 6.6%. $1.16 trillion in the U.S. Treasury. That's 8% of it. $1.63 trillion of our Social Security Trust Fund. That's 11.3% of that. $2.67 trillion in other government aspects of America, amounting to 19%. These numbers are from 2011. Imagine what they're like now. It looks like a group, this is about Disney, it's a group from Shanghai that owns 57% of Disney. But when you follow the trail, that group is owned by the Chinese government. China is the second largest holder of U.S. debt in the world. China has announced plans to run the world. In fact, a firm plan that has been established for years, like the Roman Empire, China plans to make the 21st century, quote, into the Chinese century for the world. Don't scoff too quickly, because 68 world governments have agreed to participate. All right, I'm sure you'd like to change the subject now, right? So I have had people really excited about things that are going on. So I have a TKM testimony for you. And I also have a comment that was sent in yesterday that I feel is important to read. This was also sent on TKM Talk. So for those that are on there, you've read this, but I want to, are you still asking about my little friend here? I brought my little friend from home. I know it doesn't have clothes, and it's a little naked without the feathers, but it's very expressive. So you know, one of the things that we do, because you got to go outside every day. You got to start getting back. You got to get active. You got to do things. Get excited. Don't get down into a little hobby. You got to get vibrant in this world again. Don't let this garbage win. We're fighters, and God has the end of it in his hands. So we've got to fight and war and live that we know what the end's going to be like, not worried about what evil and other people want the end to be like, but what we know the end will be like. Okay? Victory. So anytime a little stress builds up or anything around the house, and yes, I have this up here for you. So if you can read that well, you might want to copy that because I'm going to say a bit about that as well. But if you get stressed or need a little joy, this guy, he may be small, but he's got a very big voice. So you might want to do something like that around your house. That if you have any tension build up or stress or you need something, you just talk to him. Reach over and touch him. That might have been much for your microphone, and if you had headphones on, that really would be much. But he gets very active. So if that doesn't help you, and if that doesn't bring a smile or a laugh, I don't know what would. It helps inspire a lot of people, especially around our house. So whatever it takes, and get that expression. That expression is just awesome, isn't it? And see how the mouth is? So if you don't like that, I'll pray for you. So let me read this. This is about naysayers and people that have done, I've known a lot of people that have done terrible things to people because they found TKM and its wonderful benefits and want to share it with people. And then you have other people that's, oh no, we don't care for that. In fact, we're going to banish you. We want to excommunicate you. We want to draw a circle around you and paint you with do not get near. So let me just read this. Some comments were made this morning in the TKM because we have a class going on, right? 7 and 8 level class. It made me think of something I wrote a while back, and this is what it is. The people who are most, and thank you, Rachel, for sending this in. I love this. And you are one that has been persecuted way too much because you have helped so many people. And I continue to pray for you and pray for protection, but I love the insight that you have. So I want to share that. The people who are the most against TKM are the people who have the most to lose. For some people, it's their reputation, their social standing. They're afraid of what other people are going to think because the opinions of other people are very important to them and where they find their identity. For some people, it's because TKM is a threat to their established mindset. It challenges their position of power and knowledge and their field of work. I love how you make this broad to apply to all the people it does. So their knowledge of their field of work, because it's different than what they do. But they are sure they are the best. What's that? That's ego, that's pride. And for some people, they don't necessarily have position or social standing to lose, but to acknowledge that TKM is okay is to acknowledge the limits of their own understanding. To accept that they don't know everything and that something beyond their powers to figure out and make sense can be right. Many people aren't ready to give up their position, their reputation, or to admit their lack of knowledge. I've done TKM on people everywhere from a lawn chair at a lake to the emergency room in a hospital, from planned, scheduled sessions to impromptu treatments, because why not, right? That's what she's saying. To midnight emergencies, and skeptics are everywhere. From the friend who invited you to dinner so that they could argue their point, to the neurosurgeon who was convinced you didn't know what you were talking about, and who also didn't agree with the doctor who had 40 years experience who was in agreement. We don't convince anyone by arguing. Truth stands. So the biggest testament to TKM is laying a foundation of its scientific evidence and then letting the results of treatment speak for themselves. It is true. It won't be silenced. It's the results that won't be stopped. Awesome. That was awesome. Thank you, Rachel. I wouldn't want to change a word of that. That is so great. You did wonderful there. Here's a demonstration. First off, I wanted to do this. I'll come back to that. This right here is the hand. And most of you that know TKM know about the first stratum for the thumb, fourth stratum for the index, third stratum for the middle, second stratum for ring, fifth stratum for little, and the center of the palm deals with sixth stratum. By looking at it from a stratum perspective, in the yellow, color coordinated, like blue for the index finger, that is fourth stratum. So each one, third stratum is in its color. I can't do white or you wouldn't see it. So white is the color for second stratum, so we use the opposite of black so you can see it. I hope you can see this well because it's yellow, so it doesn't stand out as much. And so for the stratum correlations, they have the energy spheres related to the stratum. 1 through 4, only the number 23. We have 16 through 22 here. 5 through 15, which the most is in second stratum. There's 10 out of the 26. And in fifth stratum, we have 24 through 26. And the 26 is shared into the center of the palm. So that's why you see that red 26. And I'm going to tell you in a minute about another perspective of how that helps, that everybody can use, whether you know TKM or not. So hang in there. I wanted to bring this one. I was short on time, but this is a TKM testimony I wanted to share with you. This is how things really should happen, okay? I was in my daughter's school the other day and saw the nurse sitting with one of my daughter's classmates trying to get her nosebleed to stop. Poor thing. They were at it for a while and the girl was all bloody. So I just showed them how to use the S&S. That's short for stop and seal, meaning stop bleeding and seal the wound. What is that? For those that don't know, your right hand, right hand, you place your right hand on, the focal point is the center of the palm, wherever, preferably on the area. But if you can't put it on the area or scared to put it on the area, you can put it adjacent to the area or somewhere on the body. If you just apply it to the body, it will work. So the right hand goes on. You only got 2 hands. If you got 3 hands, we need some help. And then the left hand goes over that at a 90-degree angle. So it's either a plus sign or an X. It's a 90-degree angle. Again, you're lining up the center of the palm. So the center of the palm here with the back of the hand. And what that is positive, negative, negative, positive. So it's like batteries. You're lining that up. And the right hand goes on. So that's what she was showing them, the S&S. And it stopped in like 30 seconds. Turns out that the teacher and most of the kids in the class were watching. The nurse was pretty impressed and was so keen on borrowing my TKM intro video and my self-help book. So she did. Then I got some phone calls from some moms asking me exactly what did get the nosebleed to stop. I love it because they heard the story from their children. Children, they're awesome, and children usually remember. I'm surprised that what they probably were doing is not just telling them, but saying, well, this is what they did. They put the right hand on and they put the left hand over, and the parents are thinking, no, can't be. It's got to be something different. I mean, what's that going to do? That can't do anything. So they call. What happened? Because it did stop. It stopped quickly when the other things were not working. So she did get calls asking exactly what did stop the nosebleed because they heard the story from the children. Kind of cool to get results like that, even though I know very little. So Mary, thank you so much for sending this in. I wanted to thank you for stepping up when you saw that occasion to reach out and advise what to do, even though it was a nurse. A lot of people would be intimidated if it was a nurse or a doctor or a child you don't know. We know this wasn't your child, and you weren't doing it, but you did the right thing. And you know what? It spread to where others learned and others are getting help. Other parents and children are benefiting from that. I applaud you greatly. May everyone do that as well. So, something else I want to do is there was a question that came in from last time. It's what I mentioned at the beginning. And would you like to read this? Oh, okay, I'll do it. So, what would be good for TKM for cerebral ataxia? Now, that's a very serious situation, and I need to explain more to you, so I'll be contacting you soon about this. This is from Schoenberg. But in short, let me give you some sequences in case for the TKM experience in this lecture. So obviously you want to work with 4s because that is the gate for getting into the brain. And when I ever name these things, I'm always talking about the full sequence. So other things that you'd want to work on just for the circulation is 20s. So a good way to work the 20s is the combination 20, 21, 22 sequence. So that is getting that circulation through there. For the cerebrum, the liver sequence goes right through the cerebrum. So you want to work the liver sequence, the gallbladder sequence. There's more of that pathway in the head than any other pathway. But always remember that this is circulation in the area. And some of this does have a waist level aspect to it. But waist level is where you work for repair. So any and everything that works waist level. I didn't make any notes. I'm looking to see my notes. But the 23-25 sequence is very powerful for everything waist up and waist down because it clears waist level. That repairs the mind, the brain, and that will help the head. Something else that goes directly to the head and help with that area is 5, 6, 7, 8 combination sequence. 5, 6, 7, 8 combination sequence. There are more, but I've listed quite a few that would apply to any and everything related to brain and head. But I will be sending more things related to the spine, to growth, development, the RNA, DNA aspect of this, and other things going on. So that will give everybody things to go for that direction. The other thing I wanted to talk about here is what may look like a contradiction, but it's not. So you have the first thing up here is the energy spheres color coordinated for each digit. But below, you have 5. So this is different. You have 4 here, 1 here, 10 here. So they're different according to the strata. But if you look at the ones in orange, you've got 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 1. That's 26. That's all the energy spheres. But they're different. These are the descending ones. 1 is also in first stratum, but none of these others are in first stratum. So it has nothing to do with the first stratum correlation. It's when you're thinking of what energy spheres, unrelated to stratums, are directly related to each digit. When you map that out, the ones in orange are what you get. And there's a consistency, which is very unusual, of 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 1. So that's why the 26 in orange over here, either way, it's 26. But this one, you're getting the 1, 19, 21, 9, and 16. Over here, you get the 5, 22. I hope you're seeing these well enough, because I don't have anybody over there to make sure or zoom in or anything else. The 8, 10, 11, 6, 13, this is for the middle finger, and the 3, and 12, and 25. For the, this is one that has more of a contrast, is the ring finger. You've got 4 of those that are ascending, and only 1 that are descending. You know, these are not even across there. It can't be even because there's 5, but they're more evenly distributed except for the ring finger. It has a lot more ascending correlations. And for the little finger, we have 15, 18, 20, 23, 24, and like I said, again, 26. So what does that mean? One simple thing that you can do, whether you know TKM or not, is you can simply hold the digit. Don't squeeze it, just comfortably hold it. And you could wait anywhere from an average of 5 minutes up to 20 minutes. And you will begin to feel a pulse. and the pulse will spread. Then when you get it good enough, I'm going to move to an explanation of the index finger, because in that you have 3 sections. So in that you want to wrap around it, don't squeeze it, but the whole purpose is to contact as much of the surface of that finger as you can, all the way around, because the pad, the back, the sides, they all have different correlations, along with the 3 sections. There's mental, emotional, physical correlation here. Just like I was talking with the answer to this email, that you wanted to work waist level, like when we're working with people with seizures, you can do different things like hold thumbs to stop seizures in progress, just like you're doing something for the nosebleed that works consistent and very quickly. Some people with lighter seizures, by the time you contact the thumbs, boom, it stops. Both thumbs. But you want to hold the entire digit. So waist level is helping to work with the mind to regenerate it if there's any damage or dysfunction, or you just need better function. But holding it all the way around is holding those 3 sections on each one of these digits. And when you start feeling a pulse, you may feel it in one area more than another. That's what most people do. If you just keep holding it, relax and breathe, normal, deeply, then the pulse will spread, and it will end up that it will be all the way around the finger, all sections, pad side, back side, sides. And when you have that, that's the ultimate goal of what you're looking for. When they're all even and pulsing, there's textures to go through. You guys that know about TKM know what textures we're talking about. And then you go to the next one, and then you go to the next one. Before you get 1 or 2 digits done, fingers, you're going to feel the difference. It's going to be more relaxing, relax the tension and stress. So this is a very good thing for those that might be at home alone. I know of a few people that are actually confined in their homes because of their age and the facility that they're in. They're still in a pretty severe lockdown. This is things to help comfort. We're getting some calls about that with a lot of things going on just because of lockdown and disassociated from people and everything else. As human beings, we need association with other human beings. It's like people that don't touch each other, those are people that don't hug and don't like to be touched or touched. The propensity for medical statistics is those are people that are more prone to cardiovascular problems and even heart attack. We need touch. A horrible study that was done decades ago was that if a baby is born and doesn't receive human touch, that poor baby dies. We need interaction with each other. We need touch and hugging. And I tell you, I'm not going to be elbowing people and air doing 5s. We're going back to hugs. We're not going to let this ruin our society and our relationships. No, no way. We're getting back to it. So what you can do with this correlation is by holding each digit on your left hand first, and then you can hold center of palm, put your thumb back here for the back of it to comfortably brace, and then do the same thing on your right hand and go through that. You can do it in a brief amount of time. If you have the time, do it longer. It will help everything. This right here, going through those, is going to help 144,000 functions in your body. It's going to help all organ energy pathways, and it's going to help all of your energy spheres. Something else I wanted to share with you is I have a small collection of things that we have that are still there. You know, a lot of things are being taken offline like crazy. We have another site. I don't know if you're familiar with it, but it's called Preparedness. Preparednessinfo.org. Preparednessinfo, you know, like short for information. Preparednessinfo.org. Before the week is out, I hope to have some little blips on there and a variety of links to articles, videos, different things to help people. And I thought putting it on the preparedness website would be better. I don't think it's appropriate or wise to put those on our main website. So that will be up before long, and I'll be adding some things to that. always, we invite your questions, your comments, your suggestions for what we can do in the next time. And I'm sure that he's got a lot to say about it. And so do something fun and enjoyment and praise the Lord all day, every day, because God is good and everything, that the outcome of what's happening is going to be good. No matter what it looks like, feels like. And here's what I do. I've been asked everyone, what's the latest in the news? A lot of this stuff is what I'm being sent that I need to have to read. I haven't turned on the news to find out what's going on. So you might want to really cut back on all that negative input. And if you don't want any more updates here, let us know. We'll curve that, and maybe we'll have him back, he or she. What are you anyway? Well, you're pink, so it must be she. So in between, till we see you next Friday, God bless you, and we'll see you soon. Have joy and peace and spread it. Bye-bye.